the rise of fascism in Europe, we need to see that it happened in the three countries where the communist movement was strongest, and that is Spain, Italy, and Germany.
Yeah.
In the 1920s and 30s, in reaction to the collapse of capitalism in the 1920s, the Great Depression, which was very much felt in Europe as well, communist movements were very strong in these three countries particularly. And the American capital and British royalty had to make sure that these communist movements are suppressed, that they do not come to fruition, that they are destroyed. And fascism was greatly funded by the likes of Henry Ford and all of these great capitalists. Uh, I mean, Standard Oil, today Chevron, funded or supplied upwards of 80% of the energy needs of the Nazi war machine and upwards of 90% of the Japanese fascist war machine.
Franco too. They supported the Franco regime.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The Franco regime and Mussolini in Italy. So these fascist movements were instrumentalized. Were like in the classic or by now classic way method of funding the right, of funding fascism. I mean, Islamic fascism in Afghanistan to destroy the socialist Afghan government, and also to create a problem for the Soviet Union. Exactly the same way, World War II, a big part of it that's not talked about at all in the West is that fascism was a tool, was an instrument to crush European socialism and also to destroy the Soviet Union, which it was successful on both counts. Immediately, fascism destroyed the German communist movement and the Italian communist movement, massacres and torture and imprisonment. And I mean, first they came for the communists, right? First
Yep.
they came for the socialists, and then they came for the Jews and the homosexuals. So yeah, so as like imperialist strategy, I find this view very compelling and very important, which sadly, even German communists sometimes deny. This kind of just it's kind of a narcissism. Like, fascism was our fault. We produced it, and it has nothing to do with the United States. Like, it's really a very limited view of fascism as always a tool for the bourgeois ruling class in order to crush socialism, in order to block progress of human society onto a better, more fair, and more just phase of development.
Hmm. Yeah, and I always like to point out, where the Great Depression did not have massive impacts and where there were no fascist movements that rose to power in the Soviet Union.